Hello everyone, welcome back to this week's update. It's week 3, it's currently Sunday the 21st of September 2025. Some exciting news to share with you this week. I'll share it later on in the video. So there's two pieces, one is a bit of fun and the other one is a bit more interesting, a bit more informative. So stick around for that. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, it helps me to grow the channel. It also helps to keep me motivated to keep sharing my progress. So on to the market. So the market historically for the S&P is minus 1.7 or 1.17 for September, whereas this month we can actually see it's actually doing quite well. The S&P 500 is up 4% over the last month, whereas the FTSE 100 Vanguard is down 0.63%. So onto the market itself compared to whenever I started my pies back at the end of August. The FTSE 100 Vanguard, it's currently sitting at £48.20. So last week was £48.63, so it is down slightly. So it's down 2.18% compound annual growth rate since the end of August, whereas last week it was actually up 17.3. The AAR is down 0.15, whereas last week it was up 1.75. So it is down, as we've seen. The Vanguard S&P 500, it's currently sitting at £94.32. Last week it was £93.14, so it's up. The compound annual growth rate is up nearly 51%, whereas last week it was up 36.5% annual compound growth rate, so it's doing quite well. The AAR is obviously 2.75. So looking at dividends this week, the dividends I've got is £1.46. So the big one this week was Glencore. It gave me 77 pence, whereas Barclays there in second place, they give me 25 pence. Buys and sells. So Friday was payday, so I'm going to top up all my pies now later on today, right for the markets opening up. The minimum investment across all my pies comes to a total of £391. So I'm going to top up all my pies by the minimum amount, so that'll help to keep the pies growing, and obviously then dividends and cash in the pies will also be reinvested as well as to help that compound growth starting. Looking at the pies themselves, some quite interesting numbers here. So the first one, the high dividend yield pies, minus 53%, nearly 54% this week. Was last week it was minus 45. The AAR is just under 5%, minus 5%. The low dividend yield pie is minus 2.1, whereas last week was minus 10, so it has grown slightly. The AAR is minus 0.14. The dividend growers, it's up 17%. Last week it was 4%, so it's definitely grown as well. And the AAR is up 1%. Growth at a reasonable price. It's currently down 2.95, just under 3%, whereas last week was minus 28, so there's definitely a good growth there for the annual compound growth rate. The AAR is also improved, currently sitting at minus 0.2, whereas yet last week it was minus 1.5. This next one, revenue rockets, yeah, that's definitely a rocket. That is not a typo, that is 2007% compound annual growth rate since the start of the pie at the end of August. Last week was minus 19, so yeah, that is definitely jumped. So we'll have a look at that pie very shortly in Trading212 and see what's happening there. And then the AAR is up 22%. So on to the second set of pies, the Scalable Kings minus 1.5 versus 7.75 last week compound annual growth rate. The AAR is 0.12. The Buffett Moat Screener, 1.13. Again, improving over last week where it was minus 0.14. The AAR is 0.07. The Biggest Loser pie is minus 10 versus minus 11 last week compound annual growth rate, and the AAR is 0.7. The Magic Formula pie is minus 23.5, whereas last week it was minus 50, so again a big improvement there. And then the AAR overall is 1.75. And then finally the Vanguard pie is 8.5%. Last week was minus 0.5, so a big improvement there as well. And obviously the AAR is 0.54. So overall the pies themselves, the compound annual growth rate since the start of the pie at the end of August is currently sitting at just under break even, 0.01%. Last week it was 0.09, so it has actually improved since last week. And then the AAR for the pie itself is 0.07. Last week it was minus 0.43, so again, an improvement there. Quite a bit off my targets. So you can see the targets, the compound annual growth rate is 20%, and the AAR is 43.22%. That's my target. So quite a bit to go, but yeah, we'll get there. So on to the exciting news. So I'm going to start a small series on YouTube called What's Their Value, where I take different stocks, run them through a number of different valuation algorithms and look to see what their intrinsic value is, to see is their value based on those formulas any different from what the actual price of the pie is themselves, to see if the pie is overbought or underbought, or just to see is it worth buying any of these stocks, or maybe looking to actually sell them, or looking to do an actual hold. So the first video will go live this week on Wednesday 24th, so a few days time. I'm going to start with the Mag 7. You can see their logos on screen here, so we'll go through each of these different stocks, and just to see, as I say, I'll run through a number of different valuation models and see what they are, or what comes out of the valuation models compared to what the current value is. So the second piece of exciting news, I'm going to start out what I'm going to call as a coffee challenge. So it's basically how much you can make from a price of a cup of coffee. So I'm going to invest £2 a day, starting now on the 1st of October, into a couple of different holdings. It's really just a bit of fun. You've probably seen these ones on YouTube. People investing £1 a day for a month, 100 days, up to a year, £10 a day over a month, and things like that. There, so there's a small take in that. There's more around what can you forgo on your day-to-day sort of lifestyle, and invest that money rather than spend it. So a cup of coffee. Lots of people have a cup of coffee every day. Yeah, I'm just basically taking it as £2 a day. McDonald's, they do a coffee for just under £2, whereas if you buy a coffee at a bigger coffee chain, it does going to cost you a bit more. But if you made it at home, £2 roughly the difference. If you were to make it yourself versus buying it from a coffee chain. So it's just a bit of fun, and we'll see how that goes, and we'll follow the progress. So yeah, we'll update that progress each week, so make sure you subscribe to the channel and you can get those updates. Okay, so that's that. We'll jump into Trading212 now, and we'll have a look at the different pies. Okay, here we are on our pies. So you can see the first pie we're looking at here is the high div yields one. So over this past week is currently down 2.2%. Overall is down 5.6%. The high dividend low yield version, which is between 3 and 7%. Over this past week it's up 0.3%. And overall is down 0.1%. The dividend growers pie this past week is up 0.8%, and overall is up 1.1%. Growth at a reasonable price over the past week, it's up 1.3%, whereas overall it's down 0.2%. The revenue rockets, this is the one where it had a 2,000% annual compound growth rate. Over this past week, it's up 23%, so it is, and overall it's up 22.5%. It just has one stock. It's Fusion Group. They've done actually really, really well. So they have overall they are climbing. So this is an interesting one. You can see it's up over 100% since beginning, so since August 23. So yeah, we're keeping an eye on this one. I think this one actually could be a bit of a diamond in the dirt stock. So let's just keep an eye on it. Scalable Kings over the past week up 0.2%, and overall minus 0.1. The Buffett Moat Screener this past week up 0.0%, and overall again up 0.1. The Vanguard pie up 0.5% this week, and overall 0.6. The Biggest Losers, they're down 0.1% this week, and overall they're down 0.8%. And finally, the Magic Formula over this past week, it's up 1.5, where overall it's down 1.7. So yeah, overall, you can see the pie this past week. You can see this is where I've put in some money for top up my pies earlier today. But this past week it was real up and down. Did climb up quite a bit on Monday, and then we dropped off right into Tuesday. And then once we hit the Tuesday around 7 o'clock, which is around here, whenever the Fed announced the interest rate decision, it started to climb from then on. So it did climb quite a bit. We were right up nearly breaking even again. And then Friday it started to drop off again. So fingers crossed it starts to climb again. Overall, the max. You can see the total deposits there, £3,608. Total value is 3,587. That obviously includes the today where I've topped up the pie for investing. So yeah, overall down 0.7%, £21.16. And then if we scroll down here and look at their unrealized results, so I'm currently down 1.44 or 1.44 pence, so 0.05. So that's obviously how much I would if I was going to sell now. So basically I've been making a loss if I decide to sell now. So yep, that's everything for this week. As I say, don't forget to like and subscribe. Keep up to date for the coffee challenge, and also a new video coming this Wednesday for doing a valuation analysis on the Mag 7. So make sure you like and subscribe and turn on your notifications as well, so you get notified once I put that video live. So thanks very much, and see you later.